Seeds of misunderstanding. The arrival. Admiral Zafira's bioships emerged from the morning clouds like living mountains. Each vessel pulsed with green and blue energy, their organic hulls breathing with rhythmic expansions that made them appear more alive than machine. Vines and root systems sprawled across their surfaces, and bioluminescent pods cast an eerie glow over the farmlands of Kansas below. The 43 ships in her fleet were not built but grown, cultivated over centuries in the deep gardens of her homeworld, Verdania. Standing in her ship's biochamber, Zafira studied Earth through crystalline viewing pods that grew from the living walls. Her emerald skin shifted color slightly with her emotions, betraying her disgust at what she observed. Endless rows of crops stretched across the landscape below, geometric patterns carved into the earth with brutal precision. To her botanical senses, it looked like systematic torture of a living planet. Her 6 arms moved gracefully as she manipulated biocontrols, zooming in on tractors spreading chemicals across fields. Her large violet eyes narrowed with disapproval. These humans were exactly as the advanced scouts had reported, a species that dominated their world through brute force rather than symbiosis. The sight of their agricultural machinery tearing through soil that should have been lovingly tended by hand made her root-like hair writhe with anger. Captain Thornwick, her second in command, approached through the corridor of living walls that pulsed with the ship's heartbeat. His bark-like skin crackled as he moved, and small flowers bloomed and died along his arms as he spoke. "Admiral, the fleet is in position over their primary food-growing regions. The humans have noticed our arrival." First reactions. Dr. Sarah Chen pressed her face against the laboratory window, her breath fogging the glass as she stared up at the alien vessels. Her heart raced, but not with fear. As Earth's leading agricultural biotechnologist, she was experiencing the scientific discovery of a lifetime. Those ships were clearly biological in nature, their designs showing an understanding of plant systems that exceeded anything in human knowledge. "Marcus, get the spectrometers running," she called to her research assistant. "I want to analyze every energy signature those ships are emitting. And contact the other agricultural research centers. If these visitors are interested in our farming regions, they might be agricultural specialists." Dr. Marcus Webb adjusted his glasses nervously as he operated the scanning equipment. "Dr. Chen, shouldn't we be worried? Those ships could destroy our entire food supply." Sarah shook her head, her eyes bright with excitement. "Look at their design, Marcus. They're not warships. They're gardens. Those ships are living ecosystems. Whoever built them understands agriculture on a level we can barely imagine. This could be the breakthrough we've been working toward for decades." Meanwhile, in government facilities around the world, different conversations were taking place. General Patricia Harrison stood in the Pentagon's crisis room, surrounded by screens showing the alien fleet positioned over major agricultural regions. Unlike Sarah's excitement, the general's expression showed measured concern. "They positioned themselves strategically," she observed to her staff. "Not over cities or military installations, but over our food production areas. That's either a very specific threat or a very specific interest." Ambassador William Cross, Earth's head of extraterrestrial affairs, a position created optimistically years before, studied the positioning data. "General, this placement suggests they understand our agriculture systems. They're not random positions. They're over our most productive farmland." The first communication. Zafira decided to make contact after observing human activity for 6 hours. She had watched with growing concern as humans continued their agricultural activities, even with alien ships overhead. Tractors still moved through fields, chemicals were still being sprayed, and the systematic destruction of natural soil ecosystems continued unabated. She activated her ship's biocommunication array, a network of specialized organisms that could translate thoughts into various forms of expression. Her message was transmitted to every communication device on Earth, appearing as both audio and visual signals adapted to human technology. Her image appeared on screens worldwide, A graceful figure with emerald skin that shifted through various shades of green, 6 arms that moved like branches in a gentle wind, and eyes that held the deep wisdom of ancient forests. When she spoke, her voice carried the sound of rustling leaves and flowing water. "People of Earth," she began, her tone carrying both authority and what she believed was compassion. "I am Admiral Zafira of the Verdanian Biofleet. We have traveled across the galaxy because our sensors detected a planet in ecological crisis." Sarah Chen watched from her laboratory, recording every word while her instruments analyzed the transmission method. The technology required to broadcast simultaneously to every device on Earth was staggering, but more impressive was the biological component she detected in the signal itself. Zafira continued, her image surrounded by holographic displays of withering plants and damaged soil. "Your agricultural methods are destroying your world's natural balance. Your mechanical farming, chemical treatments, and forced crop production are symptoms of a species that has lost harmony with nature. We have come to offer salvation." The Admiral gestured with 2 of her arms, and the holographic display showed images of Verdanian agriculture. Vast forests where food grew naturally among native plants, streams that ran clear through productive areas, and soil that appeared rich and dark without any mechanical intervention. "We offer you partnership with the Galactic Bio Collective. Accept our guidance, and we will replace your destructive agriculture with sustainable biosystems. Your planet can become a garden paradise, as it was meant to be. Your people will never face hunger or environmental collapse again." The unexpected response. The response Zafira received was unlike anything in her diplomatic experience. Instead of immediate acceptance or fearful rejection, she found herself fielding thousands of technical questions from human scientists around the world. Dr. Chen was among the first to respond, broadcasting from her laboratory with visible excitement. "Admiral Zafira, Dr. Sarah Chen from the International Agricultural Research Institute. Your bioships are fascinating. Can you explain how you achieve the energy conversion we're detecting? Are those photosynthetic processes running along your hulls?" Within hours, agricultural scientists, botanists, soil specialists, and biotechnologists from every nation were requesting meetings, data exchanges, and collaborative research opportunities. Universities organized viewing parties where students gathered to observe and analyze the alien ships. Social media filled with plant biologists sharing theories about Verdanian technology. Captain Thornwick reported this development to Zafira with obvious confusion. "Admiral, the humans are studying us. They're treating your offer as a research opportunity rather than a salvation." Zafira reviewed the communications data with growing bewilderment. In her experience, primitive species either cowered before superior technology or attacked it in desperation. They never responded with scientific curiosity and requests for collaboration. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a soil microbiologist from Mexico, had somehow obtained clearance to broadcast directly to the alien fleet. "Admiral, we've been analyzing soil samples from areas under your ships. The electromagnetic fields you're generating are actually stimulating beneficial bacteria growth. Is this intentional? We'd love to understand the mechanism." Professor James Williams from the University of California transmitted detailed proposals for joint research projects. "We have experimental organic systems that might complement your biotechnology. Perhaps we could arrange a knowledge exchange." The demonstration. Growing frustrated with human focus on technical details rather than their environmental crisis, Zafira decided to demonstrate the superiority of Verdanian methods. She ordered her fleet to begin gentle corrections to human agriculture. Biopods detached from the alien ships, floating down to selected farmlands like massed seeds. When they touched the ground, they began to grow rapidly, sending root networks through the soil and transforming the geometric crop rows into flowing, organic patterns. Chemical fertilizers and pesticides were neutralized by alien bacteria, while new plant varieties emerged that produced more food per acre than human crops ever could. The demonstration was meant to show humans the futility of their current methods. Instead, it triggered the largest agricultural research mobilization in human history. Dr. Chen arrived at the nearest transformation site within hours, leading a team of scientists with more measuring equipment than Zafira had ever seen deployed for agricultural analysis. They took soil samples, measured plant growth rates, analyzed the alien bacteria, and documented every aspect of the biopod's effect on the environment. "This is incredible," Dr. Chen breathed as she examined readings from her instruments. "They've increased soil nitrogen by 300% without artificial fertilizers. The microbial diversity has expanded exponentially. And look at these root networks. They're creating communication pathways between plants." Marcus worked frantically to record data. "Dr. Chen, the food production rate is beyond anything we've achieved. But they're not just growing more food. They're actually improving the soil while they do it." General Harrison observed the same sites with different concerns. The alien intervention was clearly non-violent, but it represented a complete takeover of human food production. "They're showing us they can control our food supply," she reported to her superiors. "But they're doing it by making it better, not worse." Growing tensions. As news of the agricultural transformation spread, human reactions varied dramatically. Environmental groups celebrated what they saw as proof that sustainable farming was possible. Traditional farmers worried about being replaced by alien technology. Governments struggled to develop policies for an unprecedented situation. But the scientific community's response remained consistent: fascination and eagerness to learn. Agricultural conferences were organized within days, with presentations about alien biotechnology broadcast worldwide. Research proposals for studying Verdanian methods flooded academic institutions. Captain Thornwick expressed the concern growing among Zafira's military advisors. "Admiral, General Corax believes we should take more direct action. The humans are not accepting our guidance. They're treating us as equals rather than saviors." General Corax, the military commander of the fleet, represented the traditional Verdanian approach to environmental intervention. His bioarmor made him appear more plant than person, with bark-like skin and branches growing from his shoulders. His patience with human scientific curiosity was wearing thin. "These primitives don't understand their own crisis," he argued during the fleet's daily strategic meeting. "While they ask questions and take measurements, their planet continues to suffer. We must accelerate the conversion process." Zafira found herself torn between her mission and her growing respect for human scientific dedication. She had expected gratitude or resistance, not this intense desire to understand and participate in the solution. The challenge. The situation reached a turning point when Dr. Chen made a formal proposal that stunned the alien leadership. Broadcasting from a hastily organized international conference of agricultural scientists, she addressed Admiral Zafira directly. "Admiral, we've been studying your biotechnology for 2 weeks now. It's remarkable, and we're learning from it, but we'd like to propose something different than simple adoption of your methods. We'd like to share our research with you." Sarah activated a holographic display showing human agricultural innovations that had been developed in secret research facilities around the world. "We've been working on symbiotic farming systems for decades. Our approaches are different from yours, but they might complement your biosystems." The display showed vertical farms that grew food using minimal land and water, bacterial systems that could restore damaged soil in months rather than years, and genetic modifications that increased plant resistance to climate change without harmful chemicals. "We believe that combining human and Verdanian approaches could create agricultural systems superior to either of our individual methods. We're proposing a true partnership, not just adoption of your technology." General Corax's reaction was immediate and negative. "Admiral, this is exactly the arrogance we expected from a primitive species. They believe their failing methods could improve our perfected systems." But Zafira studied the human data with growing interest. Some of their innovations showed approaches that Verdanian science had never considered. Their vertical farming systems achieved production densities that even biotechnology couldn't match. Their soil restoration techniques worked faster than natural biological processes. The Escalation. Frustrated by continued human independence, General Korax convinced Zafira to authorize more aggressive demonstrations. The next phase would involve larger-scale transformations that would make human cooperation necessary rather than optional. Biopods were deployed over major agricultural regions across 6 continents. This time, they didn't just modify existing farmland, they began replacing it entirely. Human crops withered as alien plants took over, growing rapidly into new ecosystems that produced unfamiliar foods through completely biological processes. The human response was swift and unexpected. Instead of panic or submission, agricultural scientists around the world mobilized for the largest field study in history. Teams of researchers descended on every transformation site, documenting the changes and analyzing the new ecosystem dynamics. Dr. Chen found herself coordinating research efforts across multiple continents as human scientists worked around the clock to understand the alien agricultural systems. If they're replacing our food production, she reasoned, we need to understand how their systems work so we can maintain them ourselves. The data they collected revealed something that surprised both species. The alien biosystems were incredibly effective, but they had vulnerabilities that human technology could address. The biological networks that made them so efficient also made them susceptible to disruption if key species were removed or damaged. Meanwhile, General Korax prepared for the final phase of conversion, complete replacement of human agriculture with Verdanian biosystems. He believed this would finally force human acceptance of alien guidance. What he didn't anticipate was that the humans were preparing their own demonstration, one that would fundamentally change how both species understood the possibilities of agricultural cooperation. Growing understanding. The revelation. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the assembled representatives of Earth's agricultural community in what had become the largest scientific collaboration in human history. The emergency conference was being held in a converted aircraft hangar in Nebraska, chosen because it sat between 2 of the largest alien transformation sites. Through the massive windows, attendees could see both human farmland and the flowing organic patterns of Verdanian biosystems growing side by side. 3 weeks ago, we thought we were facing an agricultural crisis, Sarah began, her voice carrying across the hangar through speakers that had been hastily installed. Today, I can tell you that we're looking at the greatest opportunity in human history. She activated the presentation system, and holographic displays filled the air above the gathered crowd. Scientists, farmers, government officials, and even some curious civilians watched as data from around the world appeared in 3-dimensional charts and models. Our analysis of Verdanian biosystems has revealed something remarkable. Their technology isn't just advanced. It's based on principles that perfectly complement human agricultural innovations we've been developing in secret for the past 20 years. Dr. Marcus Webb, now coordinating data from research teams across 6 continents, highlighted specific examples. The Verdanian bionetworks create optimal growing conditions, but they require stable environmental parameters. Human vertical farming systems can maintain those parameters artificially, extending bionetwork effectiveness to areas where natural conditions aren't suitable. The presentation continued with revelation after revelation. Human genetic modification techniques could accelerate the Verdanian biological processes. Human automation systems could monitor and maintain alien bionetworks with precision no biological system could match. Human water management technology could extend Verdanian growing systems into desert regions where they would naturally fail. We're not just looking at adopting their technology, Sarah concluded. We're looking at creating agricultural systems that neither species could develop alone. The secret gardens. What Admiral Zafira didn't know, as she watched the human conference from her bioship, was that Sarah's presentation was only showing half of humanity's agricultural capabilities. Hidden in underground facilities around the world, human scientists have been developing revolutionary farming systems for decades, kept secret not from aliens but from their own governments due to the potentially disruptive economic effects. Dr. Elizabeth Warren, head of the Underground Agricultural Research Network, emerged from a facility beneath the California Central Valley that had been operating in secret for 15 years. Her team had been monitoring the alien arrival through sensors that Zafira's ships hadn't detected, and they had been preparing for this moment since the first biopods touched Earth's soil. Sarah's public presentation covers our conventional research, Elizabeth explained to her team of underground scientists. But we need to show them what we've really accomplished. The hidden facility contained agricultural systems that defied conventional understanding. Plants grew in zero-gravity chambers, producing yields impossible under normal conditions. Bacterial colonies had been trained to produce complex proteins and medicines while simultaneously improving soil quality. Synthetic biology had created hybrid organisms that combined the best features of multiple species. Most impressive of all was the Symbiosis Project, an experimental ecosystem where genetically modified plants, specially designed bacteria, and artificial intelligence systems worked together to create a self-managing agricultural network that could adapt to any environmental conditions in real time. The aliens think they're teaching us about biological harmony, Elizabeth observed as she watched Verdanian biopods spreading across the landscape above. They don't realize we've been working on the same problems from a different direction. The unintended consequences. General Corax's aggressive expansion of biosystem deployment began to produce effects that no one had anticipated. As alien plants replaced human crops across vast regions, the carefully balanced ecological relationships that Verdanian agriculture depended on began to break down under Earth's unique environmental conditions. The first signs appeared in Australia, where biopods had transformed wheat fields into alien agricultural networks. The Verdanian plants thrived initially, but within days they began showing signs of stress. Earth's soil microbiome was different from Verdania's, and the alien biological systems couldn't establish stable relationships with native bacteria. Dr. Patricia Ewan, a soil microbiologist working at one of the Australian sites, was among the first to recognize what was happening. The alien plants are incredible, but they're designed for their home environment. Earth's bacterial communities are trying to integrate with the alien systems, but the biochemical pathways don't match. Similar problems emerged worldwide. In Brazil, alien bionetworks couldn't cope with Earth's seasonal rainfall patterns. In India, they struggled with soil mineral compositions that differed from Verdanian norms. In Canada, they failed to adapt to Earth's day-night cycles, which were longer than those on their origin world. Captain Thornwick reported these difficulties to Admiral Zafira with growing concern. "Admiral, our biosystems are showing stress indicators across multiple deployment sites. The local environmental conditions are more challenging than our surveys indicated." Zafira studied the reports with dismay. Verdanian agriculture was supposed to be universally adaptable, capable of thriving on any world with basic life-supporting conditions. The failure of her biosystems on Earth suggested either fundamental flaws in Verdanian technology or unique properties of Earth that her species had never encountered. The human solution. Dr. Chen had been monitoring the alien agricultural systems, struggles with growing excitement rather than concern. Every problem the Verdanian plants encountered was a puzzle that human science could potentially solve. "Marcus, look at these bacterial incompatibility issues," she said as she reviewed data from struggling biopods around the world. The alien plants need specific microorganisms to process nutrients, but Earth's bacteria can't fill those roles because they use different biochemical pathways. Marcus nodded, understanding immediately where her thoughts were leading. But our synthetic biology programs have been creating custom bacterial communities for years. We could engineer microorganisms that bridge the gap between Earth and Verdanian biochemistry. Within hours, agricultural research centers around the world were collaborating on solutions to alien agricultural problems. Teams that had been studying Verdanian technology for weeks now applied that knowledge to help the struggling biosystems adapt to Earth conditions. Dr. Rodriguez's team in Mexico developed bacterial colonies that could translate between Earth and Verdanian soil chemistry. Professor Williams's laboratory in California created synthetic organisms that could regulate water uptake for alien plants during Earth's variable weather patterns. Teams in Japan engineered light cycle adaptations that helped Verdanian plants adjust to Earth's rotation period. Most remarkably, these solutions were developed and deployed without any formal cooperation from the alien fleet. Human scientists simply approached the struggling biopods with their engineered supplements and began applying them to see if they would help. The results were extraordinary. Alien agricultural systems that had been failing began to flourish with human assistance. Crop yields increased beyond what either species had achieved independently. The hybrid systems combined Verdanian biological harmony with human adaptability, creating agricultural networks that were both sustainable and incredibly productive. The young pioneers. While official communications between species remained limited to formal diplomatic exchanges, a different kind of contact was developing at ground level. Young humans, fascinated by the alien biosystems, began approaching the transformation sites to observe and learn. Some alien crew members, curious about human agricultural techniques, started venturing beyond their ships to study human methods directly. Emma Rodriguez, a 16-year-old agricultural student from Texas, was among the first to make direct contact with an alien researcher. She had been camping near a biopod site for 3 days, documenting how the alien plants responded to different soil conditions, when she noticed she was being observed. The alien was young by Verdanian standards, with bright green skin and small flowering buds growing from her head, signs of youth among plant-based species. Her name was Zafira, and she was part of the fleet's botanical research team. "Your measurements are very precise," Zafira observed in halting English, her translator device converting her plant-like communication methods into human speech. "You understand plant responses better than many adults of my species." Emma looked up from her instruments with excitement rather than fear. "Your plants are amazing, but they seem to struggle with our soil faith levels. I've been testing different amendments that might help." What followed was the first informal scientific collaboration between human and Verdanian researchers. Emma shared her soil analysis data, while Zafira explained how Verdanian biosystems processed nutrients. Within hours, they had developed a hybrid approach that improved the alien plant's performance significantly. Similar collaborations began happening around the world as young people from both species overcame the formal barriers that limited adult interactions. These informal research partnerships produced innovations that neither species' official scientific programs had achieved. The breakthrough discovery. The collaboration between Emma and Zafira led to a discovery that would change everything. While working together to optimize growing conditions for a struggling biopod, they stumbled upon something that adult scientists from both species had missed. Human agricultural techniques and Verdanian biosystems weren't just compatible, they were synergistic. When combined properly, they produced results that exceeded the sum of their individual capabilities. Plants grew faster, used less water, required fewer nutrients, and actually improved environmental conditions while producing food. "Dr. Chen," Emma reported excitedly during a video call with the agricultural research coordinator, Zafira, "and I think we found something really important. The alien plants don't just work with human technology. They make it work better, and our technology makes them work better too." The data Emma and Zafira had collected showed agricultural yields that seemed impossible. Biopods enhanced with human bacterial supplements, and monitoring systems were producing 3 times more food than either pure human or pure Verdanian systems. More importantly, they were actually improving the environment while they did it, increasing soil fertility and biodiversity instead of depleting them. Dr. Chen realized immediately that this discovery changed everything about the relationship between the two species. "Emma, this isn't just a solution to Earth's agricultural challenges. This is proof that cooperation between our species can achieve things neither of us could accomplish alone." The military crisis. General Korax observed the growing cooperation between human and Verdanian youth with alarm. His mission was to establish Verdanian authority over Earth's agriculture, not to create partnerships that would diminish his species' control over primitive planets. "Admiral," he reported to Zafira during their daily strategic meeting, "the humans are corrupting our people. Young crew members are abandoning proper procedures to work with primitive researchers. This collaboration threatens the entire mission structure." Corax's concerns weren't entirely unfounded. The informal cooperation between species was producing results that challenged fundamental assumptions about Verdanian superiority. If humans could improve upon Verdanian agricultural technology, it suggested that the Galactic Biocollective's approach to primitive species might need revision. "I recommend immediate termination of all informal contact," Corax continued. "We should complete the agricultural conversion quickly, before human influence further contaminates our systems." Zafira found herself torn between duty and curiosity. The official mission called for rapid conversion of Earth's agriculture to Verdanian systems, but the collaborative research was producing innovations that could benefit her own species. The hybrid systems being developed by human Verdanian teams were more effective than pure Verdanian biotechnology. "General, what if the mission parameters need adjustment?" she asked carefully. "The data suggests that cooperation might achieve better results than conversion." Corax's response was immediate and harsh. "Admiral, questioning mission parameters is beyond your authority. The Galactic Biocollective has established procedures for primitive species integration. Deviation from those procedures requires approval from the High Council." The demonstration of strength. Frustrated by what he saw as Zafira's weakness, General Corax decided to take action that would force both human submission and alien compliance with proper procedures. He ordered a massive expansion of biopod deployment, targeting every major agricultural region on Earth simultaneously. The operation was designed to replace human agriculture so quickly and completely that cooperation would become impossible. Humans would be forced to accept Verdanian guidance for survival, and Zafira would have no choice but to follow standard conversion protocols. Hundreds of biopods descended from the Verdanian fleet, covering farmland across every continent. They began aggressive expansion, replacing human crops with alien plants faster than any research team could study or assist the process. The hybrid systems that had been developing through human-alien cooperation were overwhelmed by pure Verdanian bionetworks that followed their original programming without human modifications. The human response surprised Corax completely. Instead of panic or submission, it triggered the largest emergency mobilization in human history. Agricultural scientists, environmental engineers, and even military personnel began working together to save both human crops and alien biosystems from the ecological disaster that rapid, uncontrolled conversion was creating. Dr. Chen coordinated response teams from a hastily established command center in Geneva. "The alien systems are expanding too fast for their support networks," she reported to assembled world leaders. "Without proper integration with local ecosystems, they're going to crash and take our remaining agricultural capacity with them." The rescue mission. What followed was unprecedented in both human and Verdanian history, a species-wide effort to save alien agricultural systems from their own military's mistakes. Human scientists raced to provide environmental support for biopods that were failing due to rapid deployment. Agricultural engineers worked to integrate alien systems with existing human infrastructure before complete ecosystem collapse occurred. Emma Rodriguez and Zafira's informal collaboration became the model for emergency response teams around the world. Young humans and aliens worked together at ground level, applying hybrid techniques they had developed to stabilize biopods that were struggling with rapid expansion. "The adult aliens don't understand what's happening," Emma explained to a news reporter as she worked to save a failing biopod in Iowa. "Their plants are designed for gradual integration, not military-style deployment. But Zafira and I know how to help them adapt quickly." Similar scenes played out across the globe as the informal human-alien research network mobilized to prevent agricultural collapse. The rescue effort required both species' knowledge and capabilities, proving that cooperation wasn't just beneficial but essential for survival. Admiral Zafira watched these rescue efforts with growing admiration and shame. Humans were risking their own agricultural security to save alien systems that had been forced upon them. The generosity and scientific dedication she observed challenged every assumption her species held about primitive worlds. The resolution. The crisis reached its peak when biopod failures began creating cascade effects that threatened both alien and human agricultural systems. General Corax's rapid deployment had created unstable ecological relationships that were collapsing faster than either species could address them individually. Dr. Chen made a desperate proposal during an emergency broadcast to the Verdanian fleet. Admiral Zafira, we need immediate cooperation between our species to prevent total agricultural collapse. Our combined knowledge can stabilize the systems, but only if we work together officially. Zafira's response marked the turning point in human-alien relations. Dr. Chen, I formally request human assistance in stabilizing our biosystems. In return, we offer full partnership in developing hybrid agricultural technologies that benefit both our species. The joint effort that followed established new protocols for interspecies cooperation. Human technology stabilized alien biosystems, while Verdanian knowledge enhanced human agricultural capabilities. The hybrid systems they created together were more sustainable, more productive, and more adaptable than either species had achieved independently. General Corax's objections were overruled when the Galactic Bio Collective reviewed the results. The Human-Verdanian Agricultural Partnership had produced innovations that could benefit primitive and advanced species throughout the galaxy. The mission that had begun as a conquest became the foundation for a new model of interspecies cooperation. The new beginning. 6 months after first contact, Earth had become something neither species had expected. A proving ground for collaborative agriculture that combined the best aspects of biological harmony and technological innovation. The planet's food production had increased dramatically while environmental quality improved, proving that development and conservation could work together. Dr. Chen stood in a field that perfectly represented the new reality. Verdanian biosystems grew in flowing, organic patterns, while human monitoring devices tracked environmental conditions, and automated systems provided precise support for the alien plants. Above them, a small alien craft worked alongside human drones to optimize growing conditions in real time. This isn't what anyone planned, she reflected as she watched Emma Rodriguez and Zafira explaining their hybrid techniques to a group of visiting scientists from other worlds. But it's better than anything we could have planned. Admiral Zafira approached through the field, her skin showing the deep green colors that indicated contentment among her species. Dr. Chen, I want to thank your species for teaching us something we didn't know we needed to learn. Sarah smiled as she watched young humans and aliens working together throughout the field. What's that, Admiral? That the best solutions come not from the strongest or most advanced species, but from the ones willing to learn from each other. The agricultural collaboration that had begun with misunderstanding and conflict had evolved into something unprecedented. A true partnership between species that respected both biological wisdom and technological innovation. Earth's response to alien arrival had been unforgettable not because of resistance or submission, but because of humanity's fundamental belief that cooperation could achieve more than conquest ever could. As news of the Earth-Verdania partnership spread throughout the galaxy, other species began requesting similar collaborative relationships. The human response to alien contact had created a new model for interspecies relations based on mutual respect, shared knowledge, and the understanding that diversity of approaches led to stronger solutions than uniformity ever could. The invasion that never was had become the partnership that changed everything.